That night, in the kitchen of a fancy restaurant full of elegant people, I saw my daughter eating leftovers from dirty plates. She was crying, trembling, and hiding. When I confronted my son-in-law, he looked at me with contempt and said, "That idiot only deserves that." Those words broke something inside me that was never the same again. My name is Margaret Peterson. I am 58 years old. I was an elementary school teacher for 30 years, and I thought I knew how to recognize pain in a person's eyes. But I never imagined I would have to recognize it in the eyes of my own daughter. This is my story, and if you are listening to this, it is because maybe you have also seen that pain in someone you love, and you did not know what to do. I did not know either. For a long time, everything started 5 years ago when Sarah called me on the phone one Sunday afternoon. "Mom, I met someone." Her voice sounded different, bright, as if she had found something she had been looking for years. "His name is Ethan. He has a restaurant downtown. He is incredible, Mom. I never met anyone like him." I remember I was watering my roses on the patio when I heard those words. The water fell softly on the leaves, and the afternoon sun painted everything gold. It was one of those moments that you remember clearly later, because something inside you already knew that things were going to change. "When will I meet him?" I asked her. "Soon, Mom. Very soon." "I want you to meet him. I know you are going to love him." And she hung up. Sarah was 32 years old then. She worked as a graphic designer. She had her own apartment in the city. She went out with her friends on Fridays. She was independent strong, or at least that is what I believed. Ethan arrived at my house 3 weeks later on a Saturday at noon. He arrived with flowers, white carnations. He kissed my hand and called me Mrs. Margaret with a smile that showed all his teeth. He wore an expensive watch, Italian shoes, and talked about his restaurant as if it were the center of the universe. "My dream is to make it the best in the city," he said, while drinking coffee in my living room. "Sarah has a very good eye for design. She is helping me with the image of the place. She is extremely talented." He looked at her. She lowered her eyes and smiled. Something about that smile made me uncomfortable, but I did not know what. "And your family, Ethan?" I asked him. "My father died when I was 15. My mother lives in Ohio. We do not talk much. Why differences? Mrs. Margaret differences." He did not give more details, and I did not insist. When they left, I closed the door and stood in the hallway. The house was silent. I looked out the window and saw them get into his car, a black BMW. Ethan opened the door for Sarah, but before she got in, he touched her waist firmly, too firmly. She stood still as if waiting for instructions. I shook my head. "Are you seeing things that do not exist, Margaret?" I told myself. "You are jealous because your daughter has a boyfriend." But that night, I could not sleep. Months passed. Sarah stopped coming to eat on Sundays. "The restaurant is very busy, Mom. Ethan needs my help." She stopped answering my calls. "Sorry, Mom, I was working." She stopped posting photos on social media. "I do not like that anymore, Mom. It is superficial." And when I finally saw her again 3 months later at the restaurant opening, I almost did not recognize her. She had lost weight, a lot of weight. She was wearing a black dress that was too big for her, and her makeup could not hide the dark circles under her eyes. But the worst part was not that. The worst part was her look, empty as if someone had turned off a light inside her. "Sarah, my love, are you okay?" I asked her in a low voice while Ethan greeted the guests. "I am perfect, Mom, just tired. We have worked a lot. You are very thin." "I am fine." "Are you sure?" Ethan appeared by her side and put his hand on her shoulder. She tensed up. I saw it. Clearly. "Mrs. Margaret, what do you think of the place Sarah did all the design? She is an artist, right?" "Yes," I said. "She is an artist." That night when I returned home, I sat in the kitchen with a cup of chamomile tea. I looked at the photographs of Sarah that I had on the refrigerator. Sarah at 5 years old with her braids. Sarah at 15 at her high school graduation. Sarah at 25 the day she opened her own studio. Always smiling, always bright. Where was that girl now? And the worst of all is that I knew. Deep down, I knew. But I did not want to see it, because recognizing the pain in your own daughter's eyes means accepting that you failed, that you did not protect her, that you did not know how to read the signs, and that hurts more than anything in the world. Sometimes we trust too much in who we should not. Have you also been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read you. 6 more months passed, 6 months in which I saw my daughter turn into a shadow. But before telling you how we got to that terrible night in the restaurant kitchen, I need you to understand something. Sarah was not always like this. Sarah was a girl full of light. She was born on a Tuesday in October at 6 in the morning, when the sky was still dark and the first drops of rain began to fall on the city. Her father, Michael, held my hand during the entire labor, and when the nurse put her in my arms for the first time, Sarah opened her eyes and looked at me. And I swear that in that moment, I knew that girl was going to change my life. Michael died when Sarah was 11, pancreatic cancer. It was fast, cruel. A Tuesday also, as if Tuesdays were cursed days in my family. I remember Sarah did not cry at the funeral. She stood next to me in her navy blue dress and black shoes and squeezed my hand so hard I felt her fingers sinking into my skin. "Will Dad watch over us from heaven? Mom." She asked me that night when I tucked her into bed. "Yes, my love, always. And you will never leave me, never, Sarah. Never." I kissed her forehead and turned off the light. But I stood at the door of her room for a long time, listening to her breathe in the dark. That was my promise. Never leave her. And for 20 years, I kept that promise. I raised her alone. I worked double shifts at the elementary school where I taught to pay for a private university. I accompanied her to her art exhibitions when she started designing. I helped her rent her first apartment. I taught her how to make lasagna, apple pie, roast beef. I taught her to be strong. Or so I thought. Sarah was always independent. She never had serious boyfriends in college. She went out with guys, sure, but nothing that lasted more than 3 months. "I do not want to commit yet, Mom," she told me. "I have many things to do." And she did them. She opened her graphic design studio at 28. She had important clients. She earned well. She traveled. She went to the gym. She took pottery classes on Saturdays. She had friends with whom she went on trips to Miami, to New York, to San Francisco. She was happy. I looked at her and thought, "You did it, Margaret. You raised a strong woman." But then Ethan arrived. At first, everything seemed normal. Ethan was attentive, polite. He always arrived on time when he met Sarah. He always opened the car door for her. He always sent flowers to her studio. He is a gentleman, Mom Sarah told me on the phone. Not like the others. He does know how to treat a woman. And I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that my daughter had found someone good. But there were things that did not add up to me. Like that time Sarah came to my house with a bruise on her arm. "What happened to you?" I asked her while making coffee in the kitchen. I hit myself with the car door. "Mom, how clumsy am I? Does it hurt?" "No, it is over." But she did not look me in the eyes when she said it. Or that afternoon I called her and heard Ethan yelling at her in the background. "Who is calling you? It is my mom. Tell her you are busy. But tell her you are busy." And Sarah told me with a trembling voice, "Mom, I will call you later. Okay, I am busy." And she hung up. I stayed with the phone in my hand, feeling something cold running down my back. But I told myself, all couples have arguments. It is normal. Do not interfere, Margaret. So I did not interfere. And that was my first mistake. The wedding was 6 months after the restaurant opening. It was small, intimate, only 20 people. Sarah did not want a big party. Ethan prefers something simple, Mom. He is not one to make a scene. I remember that day while helping her put on her dress in the hotel room, I asked her, "Are you sure about this, my love?" She looked at herself in the mirror. The dress was white, simple, elegant, but she was pale. Too pale. "Yes, Mom, I am sure." Do you love him? She remained silent for a few seconds. Then she nodded. Yes, I love him. But her voice did not sound convinced. It sounded resigned, and I should have said something. I should have stopped her. I should have taken her by the shoulders and told her, if you have doubts, do not do it. You are still in time. But I did not do it because I was afraid she would think I was a meddling mother. I was afraid she would get angry with me. I was afraid of losing her. So I smiled. I kissed her on the cheek and told her, you look beautiful, my love. And I let her go. After the wedding, everything changed. Sarah stopped coming to my house. Ethan says Sundays are for resting Mom. We work a lot in the restaurant. She stopped answering my messages. Sorry, Mom, I forgot. She stopped talking to me about her work. I do not have a studio anymore, Mom. I closed the business. Now I work with Ethan at the restaurant. You closed your studio. Why? Because Ethan needs my help. And besides, it is better this way. Now we are together all the time. I felt a knot in my stomach. But Sarah, is that what you want? Yes, Mom. It is what I want. But her voice sounded hollow, as if she were reading a script that someone else had written. I tried to visit her at the restaurant several times, but Ethan always had an excuse. She is busy today, Mrs. Margaret. She has a lot of work in the kitchen. Can I go in to say hello? Better not. She is very stressed. I do not want her distracted. And I left. I left feeling helpless, feeling useless. What could I do? Sarah was an adult woman. She was married. She had her own life. I could not interfere. Or could I? One night at 11, I received a call. It was Sarah. Mom. Her voice sounded broken, as if she had been crying for hours. Sarah, what happened? Are you okay? I just wanted to hear your voice. Where are you at home? Ethan is asleep. Did he do something to you? Silence. Sarah, did he do something to you? No, Mom, nothing happened. I just miss talking to you. My love, come to the house. Come tomorrow. I will make pancakes like you like with lots of syrup and we will talk. I cannot, Mom. Ethan needs me to be at the restaurant early. Sarah, I have to hang up, Mom. He woke up and she hung up. I sat on my bed with the phone in my hand, feeling tears falling down my cheeks. My daughter was suffering and I did not know how to help her. 3 months passed. 3 months of cut calls, of unanswered messages, of excuses, until one day, my friend Linda called me. Margaret, I need to talk to you. What is wrong? I went to Ethan's restaurant yesterday and I saw Sarah. She fell silent. And Margaret, your daughter is very bad. She is extremely thin. Her hair is falling out. And when I spoke to her, she looked at me as if she was afraid of what that Ethan would see her talking to me. I felt like my heart was coming out of my chest. Where is the restaurant downtown? But Margaret, do not go alone. That man is not a good person. I am going to go, Linda. I am going to go. And I hung up. That night, I could not sleep. I sat in the kitchen with a cup of coffee I never drank. I looked at Sarah's photos on the refrigerator. I saw her smiling, bright, full of life, and I promised myself I was going to get that girl back. It did not matter what I had to do. It did not matter who I had to face. I was going to bring my daughter back. While I tell all this, I think about where you are listening to me. Write the name of your city in the comments. I went to the restaurant 3 days later. It was a Tuesday. Always Tuesday, as if my life was marked by that cursed day. The restaurant was called The Heritage, an ironic name for a place where my daughter was being ripped from hers. It was on a quiet street downtown between expensive boutiques and art galleries. The facade was elegant, large windows with white linen curtains, a dark wooden door with brass handles. Outside, there was a chalkboard with the daily menu written in perfect cursive, Sarah's handwriting. I took a deep breath and pushed the door. Inside, the place was beautiful wooden tables with cream tablecloths, hanging plants' natural light coming through the large windows. It smelled of fresh coffee and baked bread. There was soft music in the background, jazz, I think. Everything seemed perfect, too perfect. A young waitress approached with a professional smile. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Table for one." No thanks. I am here to see Sarah. I am her mother. The girl's smile faltered for a second. Oh, she is in the kitchen, but Chef Ethan does not allow visits during service. It is not a visit. I am her mother. I understand, ma'am, but the rules are. I do not care about the rules. I need to see my daughter. At that moment, Ethan came out of the kitchen. He wore an immaculate white apron and an expression that tried to be kind, but failed to hide the annoyance in his eyes. Mrs. Margaret, what a surprise. To what do we owe the honor I am here to see Sarah? Sarah is busy. We are in the middle of lunch service. It will only be 5 minutes. I am sorry, but it is not possible. When one works in a restaurant, one has to keep the pace. There cannot be distractions. He stared at me as if challenging me, and I looked back. 5 minutes, Ethan. He stayed silent for a few seconds. Then he sighed, as if I were a difficult customer he had to tolerate. Okay, 5 minutes. But here in the dining room, I do not want you entering the kitchen. It is safety protocol, liar. I knew it in that moment. There was something he did not want me to see. Agreed. He turned around and disappeared behind the swinging kitchen door. I waited. 1 minute, 2, 3, 4. Finally, the door opened and Sarah came out. And when I saw her, I felt the air escaping from my lungs. My daughter was unrecognizable. It had only been 3 months since the wedding. 3 months. But it looked like 3 years had passed. She was thin, terribly thin. Her cheekbones stood out on her face, sunken eyes. Her hair, which had always been thick and shiny, was now dull and brittle, tied in a tight ponytail that showed patches where it was falling out. She wore an apron stained with grease and sauce. Her hands were trembling. And the worst part, she did not look me in the eyes. "Hi, Mom," she said in a low voice. I got up from the table where they had seated me and walked towards her. I wanted to hug her, but she took a step back. "Sarah." "My love." "What are you doing here? I came to see you. You do not answer my calls. You do not come to the house. I am worried." "I am fine, Mom, just busy. You do not look well. I am fine. Sarah, I am fine." She raised her voice. And then she put her hands to her mouth as if she could not believe she had shouted. Ethan appeared behind her like a shadow. "Everything okay here?" "Yes," said Sarah quickly. "Everything is okay. My mom was just leaving." "I am not leaving," I said. "Not until we talk." Ethan put a hand on Sarah's shoulder. She tensed up. I saw it. Clearly. "Mrs. Margaret, with all due respect, Sarah has to go back to work. We have a large reservation at 3 and we need everything ready. I can wait. I do not think that is a good idea. Sarah is very stressed lately. I do not want her to get worse." He looked at me with a smile that did not reach his eyes, and in that moment I understood. Ethan was not taking care of my daughter. He was controlling her. "Sarah, look at me." She looked up slowly. Her eyes were glassy, tired, lifeless. "Are you eating well?" "Yes." "Are you sleeping?" "Yes." "Are you happy?" Silence. Ethan squeezed her shoulder. She swallowed saliva. "Yes, Mom, I am happy." But a tear fell down her cheek, a single tear that she quickly wiped away with the back of her hand, and I felt something inside me break. "Sarah, if you need anything, whatever it is, call me. At whatever time. Do you hear me?" "Yes, Mom, promise me, I promise." Ethan smiled. "You see, Mrs. Margaret, everything is fine. Sarah is just tired, but I take care of her. I take care of her very well." I looked at him, and in his eyes I saw something that froze my blood. Cruelty, pure cruelty. "You better," I said in a low voice. And I left. But I did not go far. I stayed outside the restaurant in my car parked across the street. I waited. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. The restaurant closed at 5 in the afternoon. I saw the waiters come out, the cooks, the girl who had served me. But Sarah did not come out, nor Ethan. At 7 in the evening, the dining room lights went out, but the kitchen light was still on. I got out of the car and walked towards the restaurant. The main door was locked. I went around the building until I found the back door, the one that led to the service alley. It was ajar. I pushed slowly, and what I saw broke my soul. Sarah was in the kitchen alone, kneeling on the floor, cleaning with a dirty rag the grease and food stains that had remained on the tiles. She was crying in silence as if she no longer had the strength even to make noise. And next to her on the floor, there was a plate with leftover food, rice, beans, pieces of half-eaten chicken, food that others had left. And while she cleaned, she took a little of that rice with her fingers and brought it to her mouth, trembling, crying, eating leftovers. My daughter, my Sarah, eating leftovers as if she were an animal. I could not hold back. I pushed the door completely and entered. Sarah. She looked up. The terror on her face was instant. She jumped to her feet, knocking over the plate. The rice scattered on the floor. Mom, what are you doing? I was cleaning. Why are you eating leftover food? She could not even speak. She hugged herself and started to tremble. And then I heard footsteps. Ethan entered the kitchen from the back office, looked at both of us, and smiled. That smile. That damn smile. Mrs. Margaret, what are you doing here? I told you Sarah was busy. What are you doing to my daughter? Excuse me. Why is she eating leftovers? Ethan shrugged. Sarah has bad habits. I have told her 1,000 times that if she is hungry, she can eat from the kitchen, but she prefers to eat in secret. It is strange. Maybe she should see a psychologist. Liar. Excuse me. You are a liar. I walked up to him. My heart was beating so fast I felt it was going to explode. I do not know what you are doing to my daughter, but this ends today. Ethan looked at me with condescension. Mrs. Margaret, I understand you are worried, but Sarah is my wife. She is an adult woman, and I take care of her better than anyone could take care of her. Take care of her. You call this taking care of her. She is fine. Tell her Sarah. Sarah was paralyzed, staring at the floor. Sarah, I said with a trembling voice, look at me. She did not move. Sarah, look at me. She looked up slowly, and in her eyes I saw something I will never forget. Defeat. My daughter had given up. Let's go, I told her. Now take your things and let's go. Mom, I can't. Yes, you can. Let's go. Ethan stepped between us. She is not going anywhere. Get out of my way. This is my wife and this is my restaurant, and you have no right to come here and make a scene. I have all the right in the world. I am her mother, and I am her husband, and she chose me. He looked at me with contempt. She chose me because I value her, because I gave her a purpose, because I made her useful. Useful, yes, useful. Before me, Sarah was nobody, a mediocre designer with a studio that barely survived. I gave her a place, a home, a reason to exist. I felt the rage burning inside me. Sarah was always someone before you without you, and she will continue to be someone when she gets out of here. Ethan let out a laugh, cold, cruel, and then said the words, I will never forget. That idiot only deserves this. The world stopped. I looked at Sarah. She closed her eyes as if those words were normal, as if she had already heard them 1,000 times, and something inside me broke. But not with sadness, with fury, a fury I did not know I was capable of feeling. I walked toward Sarah, took her hand, and squeezed it hard. We are leaving. Now. Mom. Now. Ethan tried to block the door. If she walks out of here, she does not come back. Do you hear me, Sarah? You do not come back. She looked at me terrified. Mom, I can't. Yes, you can, trust me. But I have nowhere to go. You have your mother. You will always have me. She squeezed my hand, and together we walked past Ethan. He did not stop us. He just looked at us with that smile of contempt. You will be back. They always come back. We left the restaurant and walked to my car. Sarah was trembling. She would not stop trembling. I helped her get in. I put on her seatbelt like when she was a child. And before starting the engine, I took out my phone. I searched for a name in my contacts, a name I had not dialed in years. Richard Davis, lawyer, a man whose life I had saved many years ago when his son was sick and no one else helped him. I pressed the call button. It rang once, twice, 3 times. "Hello, Richard. It is Margaret Peterson." Silence. "Margaret, how long has it been? I need your help." "What happened?" I looked at Sarah. She was curled up in the seat, hugging herself. "The time has come to pay your debt. I still ask myself if I did the right thing, and you. What would you have done in my place? I took Sarah to my house that night. It was Tuesday, March 13th at 8:15 at night. I remember the exact time because I looked at the clock on the dashboard several times during the drive, as if time could give me some answer about what to do now. Sarah did not speak during the entire trip. She sat in the passenger seat looking out the window, hugging herself. She was trembling. She would not stop trembling even though the night was not cold. Every time we passed under a streetlight, I looked at her out of the corner of my eye. 33 years old. My daughter was only 33 years old, and she looked like a broken old woman. When we arrived at the house, I helped her out of the car. She weighed nothing, as if her bones were made of paper. I guided her to the living room and sat her on the sofa. I put a blanket over her shoulders. I went to the kitchen and heated milk with cinnamon and honey, like I did for her when she was a child and could not sleep. I came back with the cup and gave it to her. "Here, my love, it will do you good." Sarah took the cup with both hands. She was shaking so much that the liquid moved in circles inside the porcelain. She brought it to her lips and took a small sip, and then she started to cry. Not like when she was a child, not with loud sobs or screams. She cried in silence, with tears falling down her cheeks endlessly, as if something inside her had broken and she could no longer contain it. I sat next to her and hugged her. She rested her head on my shoulder and cried for 20 minutes straight. I did not say anything. I just held her like when she was 11 and cried for her father's death. Like when she was 16 and her first boyfriend left her. Like when she was 22 and did not pass the entrance exam to the university she wanted. I was always there, and now too. When she finally stopped crying, she pulled away from me and wiped her face with the back of her hand. "Sorry, Mom. You have nothing to apologize for. I should not have done this." Done. Ethan is going to be furious. I do not care what Ethan thinks, but I have to go back. The restaurant. You are not going back. Mom, you do not understand. He needs me. If I am not there, everything is going to collapse. I looked at her intently. "Sarah, did you hear what he said to you?" She lowered her eyes. "Yes, he called you an idiot." I made him angry. What Ethan gets angry when I do not do things right. And today I did not finish cleaning on time. And he is right. I am useless. I felt my heart splitting in two. "Sarah, look at me." She did not move. "Look at me." She looked up slowly. "You are not useless. You are my daughter, and you are brilliant, talented, beautiful. And that man has no right to treat you like that. But I love him, Mom. That is not love." "Yes, it is. He takes care of me. He gives me a home. He gives me work. He is destroying you." "No." She stood up suddenly. The cup of milk fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The liquid spilled onto the carpet. "He is not destroying me. He is helping me be better. Before him, I was a mess. I did not know how to manage my money. I did not know how to cook. I did not know how to be a good wife. You were never a mess." "Yes, I was. And he tells me because he loves me, because he wants me to improve." "Sarah." "You do not understand anything, Mom. You have never been with anyone since Dad died. You do not know what a real relationship is." Those words hit me like a fist in the stomach. She realized immediately. She put her hands to her mouth. "Mom, I'm sorry. I did not mean to say that. It is okay. It is not okay. It is okay, Sarah. You are angry. I understand. But it was not okay, because in that moment I realized something terrible. Ethan had not only taken away her self-esteem, he had taken away her ability to see the truth. That night, Sarah stayed in her old room, the room where she grew up, where she dreamed of being an artist, where she taped her drawings on the walls. It was still the same. Nothing had changed since she left. Her bed with the blue quilt, her desk with the lamp that no longer worked, her graphic design books on the shelf, her photographs. She sat on the bed and looked around. I cannot believe everything is still the same. I never wanted to change it. I always thought that someday you would come back. Not to stay Mom, just to visit. I know. She lay down and covered herself with the blanket. She looked like a little girl again. Small, fragile. Mom, can you stay with me for a while, of course? I sat on the edge of the bed as I did when she was 10 and had nightmares. Do you remember when Dad died? She asked suddenly. Yes, every day. I was so afraid that night. Afraid that you would also leave. Afraid of being left alone. I never left you, I know, but I always had that fear of being left alone. And when I met Ethan, I thought I had finally found someone who was never going to leave me. Her voice cracked. But now I feel like I am more alone than ever. I stroked her hair. It was dry, brittle, like straw. You are not alone, my love. I am here. And what if he is right? What if I am an idiot? You are not. How do you know? Because I know you. I have known you since the day you were born, and I know exactly who you are. She closed her eyes. I am so tired, Mom. I know. Not just physically. I am tired of everything, of trying to be enough, of trying not to make mistakes, of trying not to make him angry, then rest. Here, with me. And tomorrow we see what to do. And what if he comes for me? He is not going to come. How do you know? Because I am not going to let him. She fell asleep 20 minutes later. I stayed sitting there watching her sleep, wondering how I did not see all this before. The signs were there, all of them, but I ignored them. Why? Out of fear, out of denial, out of not wanting to accept that my daughter was in danger. The next morning, Wednesday, March 14th, Sarah woke up at 6 in the morning. I heard her get up. I heard her walking around the house. I heard her crying in the bathroom. I got up and went to find her. She was sitting on the bathroom floor, phone in hand. What happened? Ethan sent me a message. She showed me the screen. The message said, "Come back today or never come back. You have until 6 in the evening." Sarah was trembling. Mom, I have to go back. No. But he needs me. He does not need you. He controls you. It is different. You do not understand. If I do not go back, he is going to, what is he going to do? She stayed silent. Sarah, has he hit you? No. Are you sure? Yes. He has never touched me like that. Then what he says things that make me feel that I am worth nothing, that no one else is going to love me, that without him I am nobody. That is abuse, Sarah. But he is right. He is not. I knelt in front of her and took her face in my hands. Listen to me well. That man is manipulating you. He is making you believe you are less than you are. But I know you. And I know you are much more than what he says. Then why do I feel so empty? Because he has taken everything from you. Your job, your friends, your self-esteem, everything. But we can get it back. I do not know if I can. Mom, I do. And I am going to help you. She hugged me and cried again, and I held her feeling that this battle was going to be much harder than I thought. That day, I called Richard Davis. Richard was a lawyer, 58 years old, same as me. I had known him for 30 years when we worked together at a community school in the inner city. His son Matthew had leukemia when he was a child. I organized a fundraiser at the school where I worked. I raised money for his treatment, I talked to doctors, I looked for options. Matthew survived, and Richard told me he owed me his life. Someday, Margaret, someday I am going to pay you back for everything you did for my family. That day had arrived. Richard arrived at my house at 4 in the afternoon, tall, thin, with gray hair combed back. He wore a dark suit and blue tie. He carried a leather briefcase. He sat in the living room with me and Sarah. Tell me everything he said. And I told him. I told him about how she met Ethan, about the hasty wedding, about the isolation, about the restaurant, about the night I found her eating leftovers, about the words Ethan said to her. Richard listened in silence, taking notes in a small notebook. When I finished, he remained silent for a few seconds. Then he looked at Sarah. Has he hit you? No. Has he threatened you? Not directly. Has he controlled you financially? Sarah nodded slowly. Yes. When I closed my studio, he said he was going to handle our finances, that I was not good with money, and now I do not have access to anything. Do you have bank accounts in your name? Yes, but he has the passwords, and he changed my cards for ones that are in both our names. Do you have documents, birth certificate ID? They are at the restaurant in Ethan's office. Richard wrote something else. And your friends, your family. I have not talked to anyone in months. Ethan says they distract me from work. Richard closed the notebook and looked at me. This is psychological and economic abuse, and we have enough to ask for a protection order. How fast can you do it tomorrow? But I need Sarah to agree. He looked at my daughter. Sarah, do you want to get out of this? She remained silent for a long time. Too long. And then, with a trembling voice, she said, I do not know. I felt like the world was falling on top of me. What do you mean you do not know, Mom? It is complicated. It is not complicated. That man is destroying you. But I love him. That is not love. To me, it is. She stood up trembling. You do not understand. Ethan needs me, and I need to feel needed. Before him, I was alone. I had no one. You had me. It is not the same. Why not? Because you are my mother. You have to love me. But he chose me. He chose me. And that means something. Richard stood up too. Sarah listened to me carefully. I have worked with hundreds of cases like yours, and I know exactly what you are feeling right now. No, you do not know. Yes, I know. You feel guilty. You feel responsible. You feel that if you leave, he is going to suffer, or that you are going to fail, or that no one else is going to love you. Sarah started to cry. But none of that is true. Those are the thoughts he put in your head. They are not yours. They are his. And what if he is right? And what if I am an idiot? You are not. And I am going to prove it to you. But I need you to trust me. Sarah looked at me. Mom, what do? I took her hands. Trust me, my love. One more time. Trust me. That night, Sarah agreed to stay, but only for that night. Tomorrow, I'm going to go back, she said. I just need one more night to think. Richard left at 7 in the evening, promising to return the next day with the papers ready. I made dinner, vegetable soup, toast, chamomile tea. Sarah ate slowly, as if every bite cost her work. Is it good? I asked her. Yes, Mom, thanks. When was the last time you ate something hot? She stayed thinking. I do not remember. And in that moment, I realized something. My daughter had not only lost her self-esteem, she had lost the ability to take care of herself. And that was the most terrifying thing of all. That night before sleeping, Sarah asked me, Mom, do you think I can go back to being who I was before I sat next to her on the bed? Yes, I believe so. And if I can't, then you will be someone new, someone stronger, someone who survived. I do not feel strong. Because you are tired, but strength returns. I promise. She closed her eyes. Thanks for not giving up on me, Mom. I am never going to give up on you. But what we did not know was that the next day, Thursday, March 15th, everything was going to change. Because Ethan was not going to let her go so easily, and the battle was just beginning. While I tell all this, I think about where you are listening to me. Write the name of your city in the comments. Thursday, March 15th, 6 in the morning. I woke up to the sound of Sarah's phone ringing in the room next door. It was not the alarm, it was a call. I jumped out of bed and ran to her room. She was already awake, sitting on the bed, looking at the phone screen with terror. "Who is it, Ethan? Do not answer." But do not answer. The phone stopped ringing. 5 seconds passed, and it rang again. Sarah looked at me with pleading eyes. "Mom, if I do not answer, he is going to come here. Let him come, I am not going to let him in." But the phone rang again, once, twice, 3 times. Finally, Sarah answered. She put it on speaker without me asking her. Her hands were trembling. "Hello." Ethan's voice filled the room. Cold controlled. "Where are you at my mom's house? I gave you until 6 in the evening yesterday. It is 6 in the morning the next day, I know. But do you know how many problems you caused me yesterday? I had to close the restaurant early because there was no one to clean. I lost customers. I lost money. Sorry, I do not care about your apologies. I want you to come now, Ethan. I need time." Silence. Then a laugh. Dry. Humorless. Time. Time for what? For your mom to fill your head with nonsense. It is not nonsense. Of course it is. She does not understand what you and I have. She does not know what it is to build something together. Ethan, Sarah. Love, listen to me. I know yesterday we had a misunderstanding, but that happens in all relationships. I got nervous. I said things I should not have said. His voice changed. Now it sounded soft, almost affectionate. But you know I love you, right? Sarah closed her eyes. Yes. And I know you love me. Yes. Then come. Come home. We are going to fix this. Together. Sarah started crying silently. Ethan, I do not know if I can. Yes, you can. You are strong. You are my strong and beautiful wife. And I need you. Really. Really. Without you, the restaurant does not work. Without you, I do not work. I could not take it anymore. I took the phone from Sarah's hands. She is not coming back. Silence on the other end. Then Ethan's voice. Now cold again. Mrs. Margaret, do not call her again. She is my wife. I can call her whenever I want, not if she does not want to. And who says she does not want to ask her? Ask her if she wants me to stop calling her. I looked at Sarah. She had her face buried in her hands. Sarah does not need to talk to you right now. You cannot decide for her. She is an adult woman. Exactly. And as an adult woman, she has the right to distance herself from someone who mistreats her. Ethan let out a laugh. Mistreatment, Mrs. Margaret. I have never laid a finger on Sarah. There are many forms of mistreatment, and you use them all. Look, ma'am, I understand you are worried, but Sarah and I have couple problems, normal problems, and they are resolved between us, not with her mom interfering in the middle. This is not a couple problem. This is abuse. Abuse does giving her a job, a home, a life seem like abuse, does taking away her money, her job, her friends, and her dignity seem like abuse. Silence. Then his voice, now lower, more dangerous. Tell Sarah she has 24 hours to return or I am going to take legal action. What measures she signed a contract when she started working at the restaurant? A contract that makes her responsible for any financial loss if she abandons her post without prior notice. And believe me, the losses these days are going to be considerable. That is illegal. Call a lawyer and find out. And he hung up. Sarah looked at me with terror. Mom, is it true? Did I sign a contract I do not know? Did you sign something? I signed a lot of papers when we started. Ethan said they were restaurant procedures. Insurance, I do not know what else. Did you read them? She lowered her eyes. No. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. It is okay. It is okay. We are going to call Richard. Richard arrived at 9 in the morning. He sat in the living room with us, his leather briefcase open on the coffee table. I told him about the call about the contract. He listened attentively, taking notes. Do you have any copy of the papers you signed? He asked Sarah. No, everything is in Ethan's office. Do Do you remember what they said? No, he gave them to me and told me to sign. And I trusted him. Richard sighed. Sarah, I need you to tell me the truth. How long were you working at the restaurant since the opening 8 months ago? Did he pay you? She remained silent. Sarah, at first, yes. He gave me $500 a week, but 3 months ago he stopped paying me. Why, he said the restaurant was not generating enough profit, and since we were husband and wife, the money was ours anyway. And you accepted, yes. Richard wrote something else in his notebook. How many hours a day did you work? 12, sometimes 14. Did you have days off? No? And food, did you sleep well? Sarah started crying again. He said if I wanted to eat, I could do it after the customers finished. But sometimes I was so tired I just wanted to sleep. And when I ate, he told me I was getting fat, that customers did not want to see a fat woman in the kitchen. I felt the rage burning inside me. Richard closed the notebook. This is not only psychological abuse, it is labor exploitation and possibly human trafficking. What anyone who kept her working without pay, without days off within humane hours, that is considered forced labor. But I accepted, said Sarah. I said yes. Under manipulation and coercion, that does not count as consent. Richard looked at me. Margaret, I need you to get me something, whatever it is. I need evidence, photographs, messages, anything that proves the abuse. And if we have nothing, then we are going to have to get it. We spent the next 3 hours going through Sarah's phone. Richard took screenshots of Ethan's messages. There were hundreds. Messages telling her she was useless, that she was fat, that she was good for nothing, that no one else was going to love her. Messages at 3 a.m. asking where she was. Messages controlling who she talked to. Messages telling her what clothes to wear, what to eat, when to sleep. It was a manual of psychological abuse, and Sarah had lived with that for 8 months. At 12 noon, Richard left with a folder full of evidence. I am going to prepare the request for a protection order, and I am also going to start a case for labor exploitation. How long will it take? If all goes well, we can have the protection order in 48 hours, Thursday, March 17th at the latest, and the divorce. That is going to take more time, but we can start it immediately. Sarah looked up. Divorce, yes. Sarah, you have to divorce him. But if you do not divorce him, he is going to continue having legal control over you, over your finances, over your life. But I love him. Richard knelt in front of her and took her hands. Sarah, look at me. She looked at him with eyes full of tears. What you feel for that man is not love. It is trauma. It is the bond that forms when someone mistreats you and then gives you small moments of kindness. It is called traumatic bonding. And it is very real. But it is not love. How do you know? Because I have seen this same pattern in hundreds of women. And they all told me the same thing as you, that they loved him, that they could not leave him, that he was going to change. And what happened to them? The ones who left in time survived. The ones who stayed. He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. That afternoon, Sarah and I sat on the patio. It was sunny. The roses were blooming. The air smelled of wet earth and jasmine. Sarah looked at the flowers with empty eyes. Mom, when did I stop being me? What do you mean I was strong, independent? I had my own business, my own friends, my own life. When did I lose all that little by little without you realizing it? Why didn't I see it? Because he was very good at hiding it. At first, everything seemed like love, attention, care. But then little by little, he started taking pieces from you. First your friends, then your job, then your self-esteem. And I let him. Why did he manipulate you? Because he made you believe it was for your own good. Sarah remained silent for a long time. Then she said, Do you know what the worst part of all is? What that a part of me still wants to go back. Still wants to believe that he is going to change, that things are going to be like at the beginning. I know. Will that go away? Yes. With time. And with help. How much time, I do not know. Every person is different, and if it never goes away, it will go away. I promise. That night, Friday, March 16th, I received a call. It was an unknown number. I answered. "Hello, Mrs. Margaret?" It was Ethan. "How did you get my number?" "It does not matter. I need to talk to Sarah. She is not available. Tell her if she does not return tomorrow, I am going to come for her. If you get close to my house, I call the police. You do not understand. Sarah is my wife. I have a legal right to speak to her, not when there is a restraining order in process." Silence. What you heard right. Tomorrow we are going to file a request for a protection order and a case for labor exploitation. So I suggest you get a good lawyer. I heard his breathing on the other end. Heavy. Angry. You are going to regret this. I doubt it. Sarah is going to come back. They always come back. This time, no. We will see. And he hung up. That night, I could not sleep. I stayed awake sitting in the living room with the lights off, watching the door. Waiting. Waiting for what? For Ethan to arrive. For him to break into my house. For him to take Sarah away. At 3 a.m, I heard a noise outside. I got up slowly and approached the window. There was a car parked in front of my house. A black BMW. Ethan's car. He was there sitting in the driver's seat looking towards my house, doing nothing, just looking. I felt a chill. I took my phone and called the police. There is a man outside my house harassing. Do you know him? He is my daughter's husband. We have a restraining order in process. We are going to send a patrol. I hung up and kept watching. Ethan did not move. He stayed there for 20 minutes until the patrol arrived. The police approached his car. They talked to him. He showed them something. Probably his ID. Then he left. But before leaving, he looked towards my house one last time. And I knew this was not over. It was just beginning. Saturday, March 17th, 6 a.m. Richard arrived at my house with the papers. We have the hearing at 10 a.m. The judge is going to review the evidence and decide if he grants the temporary protection order. And if he does not grant it, he is going to grant it. We have enough evidence. Sarah was sitting on the sofa, pale, trembling. Do I have to go? Yes. You have to testify in front of the judge. I can't. Yes, you can. I cannot see him. You are not going to see him. He is going to be in another room. Everything is going to be by video conference. Sarah closed her eyes. I am afraid. I know. But I am going to be with you. And your mom, too. We arrived at the courthouse at 9:30. It was a gray building, cold with long and silent corridors. We sat in a waiting room. Sarah kept moving her legs. She was terrified. At 10 o'clock, sharp, they called us. We entered a small room with a computer and a camera. On the other side of the screen was the judge, a man of about 60 years old with glasses and a serious expression. Good morning, Sarah Peterson. Yes. I need you to tell me in your own words what you have been living. Sarah looked at me. I squeezed her hand, and then, with a trembling voice, she started to speak. She spoke for 20 minutes. Of the isolation of the control of the insults of the forced labor of the night in the kitchen. And when she finished, the judge remained silent for a few seconds. Then he said, Miss Peterson, I am going to grant the temporary protection order. Mr. Ethan Miller cannot get closer to you than 200 meters. He cannot contact you by any means. And if he does, he will be arrested immediately. Sarah started to cry, but this time not of sadness, of relief. I still ask myself if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place? Saturday, March 17th, 2 p.m. We left the courthouse with the protection order in hand. It was an official document with the court seal with the judge's signature, with Ethan Miller's name in clear black letters. Sarah looked at it as if she could not believe it was real. Does this mean that he cannot get close to me? Exactly, said Richard. 200 meters. If he sees you on the street, he has to leave. If he tries to contact you, he goes to jail. And the restaurant? You can go pick up your things, but with police escort. I am going to coordinate that for Monday. Monday, why not today? Because today is Saturday and because I want you to have a couple of days to process all this before seeing him again. Sarah nodded slowly, but I knew her. I knew that look. She still had doubts. Still a part of her wanted to go back. That night I made beef stew, Sarah's favorite, since she was a child. Red stew with radishes, lettuce, oregano, crunchy toast. The smell filled the whole house. Sarah sat at the kitchen table and watched me cook. We did not speak for a long time, just the sound of the pot, bubbling water running, plates clashing. Finally, she broke the silence. "Mom, can I ask you a question?" "Sure." "How did you know Dad was the right one?" I stopped with the spoon in my hand. I did not expect that question. "Why do you ask?" Because I thought Ethan was the right one and I was wrong. Then how am I supposed to know the difference? I turned off the stove and sat in front of her. Your dad never made me feel less. He never controlled me. He never took anything from me. On the contrary, when I was with him, I felt more myself, stronger, more capable. And with Ethan, how did you feel with Ethan? Sarah lowered her eyes, small, useless, as if she were never enough. Then there is your answer. She played with her hands. But at first it was not like that. At first he made me feel special, as if I were the only woman in the world. That is the trap, my love. All abusers start like that. They make you feel loved, valued. And when you already trust them, when you already depend on them, that is when they start taking pieces from you little by little, so slow that you do not even realize. And why didn't I realize? Because you are human, and because love makes us blind. Sarah started crying again. "Mom, I am so afraid." "Of what? That I will never be able to trust anyone again, that I will always be waiting for the person I love to turn into a monster." I got up and hugged her. "That too will heal with time, I promise." Sunday, March 18th. Sarah woke up screaming at 4 a.m. I ran to her room. She was sitting on the bed, soaked in sweat, trembling. What happened? I dreamed that Ethan entered the house, that he dragged me back to the restaurant, and that you could not stop him. It was just a nightmare, but it felt so real. I sat next to her. "Sarah, he is not coming. He has a restraining order. If he gets close, he goes to jail. And if he does not care, he is going to care. Men like Ethan are cowards. They are only brave when they have control. But when they lose that control, they give up." How do you know? Because I have seen many men like that in my life, and they are all the same. Sarah lay back down again. "Mom, can you stay here until I fall asleep?" "Sure." I sat on the edge of her bed, like when she was a child, and while I watched her sleep, I thought of all the nights I was not there. All the nights she spent alone with fear, without anyone to protect her, and I promised myself that I would never fail her again. Monday, March 19th, 9 a.m. Richard arrived with 2 police officers, a man and a woman, both about 30 years old, uniformed, serious. "We are going to go to the restaurant," Richard said. "Sarah is going to pick up her things, her documents, everything that belongs to her." Sarah was pale. "Is he going to be there?" "Probably, but he cannot get close to you. The officers are going to make sure of that. And if he tries to talk to me, do not answer. Do not look at him. Just pick up your things and we leave." Sarah nodded, but her hands were trembling. We arrived at the restaurant at 10 a.m. It was closed. The window curtains were drawn, but Ethan's black BMW was parked outside. He was there. The police knocked on the door. There was no answer. They knocked again. Police opened the door. Finally, the door opened, and there was Ethan. But he was not the same Ethan I had seen a week ago. This Ethan was disheveled, unshaven, with deep, dark circles, wrinkled shirt, red eyes. He looked like he had not slept in days. "What do you want?" he asked with a hoarse voice. "We are here to escort Mrs. Sarah Peterson to pick up her belongings." Ethan looked at Sarah. She looked away. Belongings? Everything here is mine. I paid for everything, according to the law, said Richard. Sarah has the right to recover her personal documents, her clothes, and any object of sentimental value. And who are you? I am her lawyer. Ethan let out a bitter laugh. Of course. You already got yourself a lawyer. How fast Sarah still did not look at him. Mr. Miller said the female officer, we need you to maintain a minimum distance of 200 meters from Mrs. Peterson. You can stay in the restaurant, but you have to go to the back while she picks up her things. This is my restaurant. We understand, but there is a restraining order in effect. If you do not cooperate, we are going to have to arrest you. Ethan clenched his fists. He looked at me, and in his eyes, I saw pure hatred. This is your fault, he told me. You filled her head with lies. I did not fill her head with anything. I just opened her eyes. Sarah was happy before you got involved. Sarah was dying before I got her out. Lie. He took a step towards me. The police immediately intervened. Mr. Miller, take a step back. Ethan breathed heavily, furious, but he stepped back. You have 20 minutes, he said. 20 minutes and I want you out of my restaurant. And he went to the back office. Sarah entered the restaurant slowly. I was behind her. The place was destroyed. Dirty dishes piled on the tables, trash on the floor, the smell of rotten food. The hanging plants Sarah had put up were dry dead. Everything beautiful she had created there was ruined. Oh my God, Sarah whispered. Do not stop, I told her. Pick up your things and let's go. We went to the office where Sarah kept her work clothes. She opened the locker. Inside there were 3 uniforms, all stained, all torn. This is all I have here, she said, and your documents. They are in Ethan's office. We walked to the back office. Ethan was there sitting at his desk looking at the computer. He did not look up when we entered. I need my documents, said Sarah with a trembling voice. Ethan kept looking at the screen. I do not know what you are talking about. My birth certificate, my ID, my social security papers. Oh, those. I burned them. Sarah was paralyzed. What I burned them? Last night, in the back alley. Why, he finally looked at her and smiled. That smile. Because if you are not mine, then you are nobody's. Richard immediately called the police. Destroying official documents is a federal crime. Prove it, said Ethan. We left the office and went to the back alley. There, in a metal drum, there were ashes. Paper ashes. Ashes of Sarah's identity. She knelt next to the drum and put her hands in the ashes as if she could recover something. But there was nothing left. Just dust. It does not matter, said Richard. We can get copies of everything. It is going to take time, but it can be done. But Sarah did not respond. She just looked at the ashes with empty eyes, and I knew something inside her had just broken again. We left the restaurant. Ethan was standing at the door watching us. Leaving already, he asked with fake sweetness. Sarah finally looked at him, and for the first time in months, she spoke with a firm voice. Yes, I am leaving, and I am not coming back. Ethan let out a laugh. We will see. No, there is nothing to see. This is over. Over Sarah. Love, you cannot end something that is never going to end. You are mine. You always were. You always will be. I am not yours. I never was. Of course you were. I made you who you are. Without me, you are nothing. Sarah took a step towards him. The police became alert, but she just stared at him. You are right about something, she said. Without you, I am not the broken and scared woman I was with you. Without you, I can go back to being who I was before, and that is exactly what I am going to do. Ethan looked at her with hatred. You are going to regret it. No, the only one who is going to regret it is you. And she turned around and walked to the car with her head held high for the first time in 8 months. That night back at my house, Sarah sat on the patio. I brought her a cup of chamomile tea. How do you feel? I do not know. Empty, angry, relieved, all at the same time. It is normal. Mom, when I saw those ashes, when I saw that he had burned my documents, I realized something. What? That he never loved me. Because when you love someone, you do not destroy their identity. You do not burn their past. You do not turn them into nothing. You are right. Then why does it hurt so much? Because you did love him, or at least you loved the idea of what you thought he was. Sarah sipped tea. Do you know what is the saddest thing of all? What that I gave him. Everything, my work, my friends, my dignity. Everything, and the only thing he did was take more from me. But now you got it back. Recovered what I have: no job, I have no money, I have no documents, I have nothing. You have me. Sarah looked at me, and for the first time in a long time, she smiled. A small smile, fragile but real. Thanks, Mom. You are welcome, my love. Tuesday, March 20th. 5 a.m, I woke up to the sound of my phone. It was a message from an unknown number. I opened the message. It was a photograph of Sarah sleeping in her bed in my house, taken from her bedroom window, and under the photo a message. I am always watching you. I felt like my heart was coming out of my chest. I ran to Sarah's room. She was still asleep. The window was closed, but the curtains were open. Someone had been there. Someone had been watching her. I took my phone and called the police. I need you to come now. The police arrived 20 minutes later. They checked the patio, the windows, the back alley. They found shoe prints in the dirt under Sarah's window, fresh prints from a few hours ago. Do you have any idea who it could have been? Asked the officer. Yes, my ex-son-in-law, Ethan Miller. Do you have a restraining order against him? Yes. Then this is a violation. We are going to arrest him. At 8 a.m, Ethan was arrested. At the restaurant, in front of all the employees, in front of the first customers of the morning. They handcuffed him. They read him his rights, and they took him away. Sarah and I watched it on the news that afternoon. Restaurant owner in downtown arrested for harassment and violation of restraining order. Sarah looked at the screen with empty eyes. Is it over? She asked. Not yet, but almost. That night, Richard called us. Ethan got out on bail, $50,000. What I am sorry, Margaret. The judge considered he was not a danger to society. Not a danger. He was stalking my daughter, I know. But the law is like that. However, now he has a stricter restraining order, and if he violates it again, he goes to prison without bail. And is that supposed to make me feel better? No. But it is the best we can do for now. I hung up. Sarah looked at me with terror. Mom, he is going to come back. He is not going to do it. Yes, he is going to do it. I know him. He is not going to stop until he gets me back. And in that moment, I knew she was right. Ethan was not going to stop, not until he was forced to, and I was going to be the one to force him. Wednesday, March 21st, 6 a.m. I had not slept all night. I stayed sitting in the living room with all the lights on, watching the windows, waiting. Waiting for what? For Ethan to appear again. For him to try to get in. Sarah did not sleep either. I heard her walking around her room all night, opening drawers, closing doors, crying in silence. At 6:30, she came out of her room. She was dressed in jeans and a blouse that was too big for her, her hair tied back in a ponytail. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, my love. Did you sleep at all? No, neither did I. She sat next to me on the sofa. Mom, I need to tell you something. What is wrong? I want to go to therapy. I looked at her surprised. Therapy, yes. Richard recommended a psychologist. She specializes in abuse victims, and I think I need her. I took her hand. I think that's a very good idea. I am afraid she will tell me I am crazy, that all this was my fault. She is not going to say that. How do you know? Because none of this is your fault, and any serious professional knows that. Sarah nodded slowly. Richard already got me an appointment for today at 2 p.m. Can you come with me, of course? We ate breakfast in silence. Coffee toast, scrambled eggs that Sarah barely touched. I tried to act normal as if I were not terrified that Ethan would appear at any moment, as if I had not spent the whole night checking the windows, as if I did not have a baseball bat hidden behind the door. At 9 in the morning, Richard called. "Margaret, we have a problem." What happened? Ethan filed a lawsuit. What kind of lawsuit? He is suing Sarah for damages. He says that by abandoning the restaurant without prior notice, she caused financial losses of $50,000. $50,000, Sarah looked up terrified. "It is an intimidation strategy," said Richard. "He has no case, but it is going to take time to prove it in court." "How much time? Months? Maybe a year?" "We do not have a year. I know, but we are going to fight this. We are going to prove that Sarah worked without pay, that she was exploited, that the contract she supposedly signed was under coercion. And in the meantime, Sarah has to stay away from him. She cannot answer his messages. She cannot talk to him. Nothing." "Understood." I hung up. Sarah looked at me with eyes full of tears. "Mom, I do not have $50,000. I know, I have nothing. How am I going to pay that you are not going to have to pay anything? It is a lie, a strategy to scare you. It is working." At 2 in the afternoon, we went to the psychologist's office. Her name was Dr. Patricia Roberts, 53 years old, short hair, glasses, kind smile. Her office was in an old house in the suburbs, cream walls, plants in the corners, a soft light coming through the windows. I sat in the waiting room while Sarah went in. I waited an hour. When Sarah came out, her eyes were red. She'd been crying, but something in her face looked different, lighter, as if she had left something heavy inside. "How did it go?" I asked her in the car. "Good. Hard, but good." "Do you want to talk about it?" "Not yet, but I think I am going to go back. Dr. Roberts told me I have to come twice a week at least for the first 3 months. Perfect. We are going to go. Thursday, March 22nd, 11 in the morning. I was watering the plants on the patio when I heard a knock on the door. Sarah was in her room reading. I approached the door and looked through the peephole. It was Ethan. He was standing there in a dark suit tie, hair combed back, as if it were a normal visit, as if there were no restraining order, as if he had not been arrested 2 days ago. He knocked again. "Mrs. Margaret, I know you are there. I just want to talk." I did not answer. "Please, 5 minutes. I need to talk to Sarah." "Go away or I call the police," I shouted from the other side of the door. "It does not have to be like this. We can fix this like civilized adults. You have a restraining order. You are violating it right now. I just want to see my wife. She does not want to see you." Silence. Then his voice lower, more dangerous. "You cannot keep her locked up forever. I do not have her locked up. She is here because she wants to be." "Oh yeah, why don't we ask her?" I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around. Sarah was there, pale, trembling. "Is it him?" she whispered. "Yes. Go to your room." "No, I want to. I want to talk to him." "Sarah?" "No, I need to do it, Mom. I need to tell him what I feel." "You can do it later, when you are ready." "I am ready now." She approached the door. "Sarah, do not open that door. I am not going to open it. I am just going to talk." She stood in front of the closed door. "It is Ethan," she said with a trembling voice. On the other side, silence. Then, "Sarah, love. Is it you? Yes. I miss you so much. Ethan, I need you to listen to me. Whatever, love, whatever. I want a divorce." Silence, long, heavy. "What, I want a divorce? This is not working. It never worked." "Sarah, do not say that. You are confused. Your mom is confusing you. I am not confused. I am clearer than ever." "Sarah, what you did to me, what you said to me, that is not love. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did. It was a mistake. I was stressed. The restaurant is collapsing without you. I need you back." "No. Sarah, please, I love you. You do not love me. You only need me to serve you, to work for free, to be your unpaid employee." "That is not true." "Yes, it is, and you know it." I heard Ethan hitting the door with his hand. "Sarah, open this damn door." Sarah took a step back. Go away, Ethan, and do not come back, or what you are going to call the police like last time. Yes. Do you know how much it cost me to get out of that place? $50,000, all because of you. It was not my fault. You violated the order because I wanted to see you, because I love you. That is not love. He hit the door again, harder. I'm going to call the police now, I said. Do it. Call them. Anyway, you already ruined my life. I took my phone and dialed 911. Ethan kept shouting from the other side of the door, Sarah, if you do not come back to me, you are going to regret it. Do you hear me? You are going to regret it. Police. What is your emergency? There is a man violating a restraining order at my house. He is hitting the door, threatening. Address. I gave my address. We already sent a patrol. I hung up. Ethan kept hitting the door, but then suddenly he stopped. We heard footsteps walking away, an engine starting, the BMW starting up. He left, but before leaving, he shouted one last thing. This does not end like this, Sarah. It is never going to end. The police arrived 5 minutes later. We gave them the description of the car. We showed them the video from the security camera that Richard had installed last week. There was Ethan, hitting the door, shouting, threatening. Everything recorded. We are going to arrest him again, said the officer. This is the second violation. This time he is not going to get out on bail. Ethan was arrested that afternoon, at the restaurant. Again. This time, when they put him in the patrol car, there were photographers, journalists. The story had appeared on the local news. Restaurant owner arrested for the second time for violation of restraining order. The video went viral. On social media, people commented, some supporting Sarah, others defending Ethan. He is just a man in love. She is ruining him on a whim. Typical manipulative woman. Sarah read the comments and cried, You see, mom, people think I am the bad one. It does not matter what people think. Yes, it matters. It matters because now everyone knows my name, my face, my story. Sarah. And what if he is right? What if I am ruining him? You are not ruining him. He ruined himself. Friday, March 23rd, 2 p.m. Richard called us. Ethan is in jail, without bail. He is going to have a hearing on Monday the 26th to determine if he stays detained until the trial. How likely is it that they detain him? Very likely. He already violated the order twice. He is clearly a danger. Good. But there is something else. What his family contacted me. What family? He said he did not talk to his mother. Apparently that changed. His mother and 2 brothers want to talk to Sarah. What for? They say they want to apologize. That they did not know what Ethan was doing. No, Margaret. No, Richard. Sarah is not ready for that. I understand. I just wanted you to know. I hung up, but I did not say anything to Sarah. Not yet. She already had enough on her mind. That night, Sarah and I sat on the patio. It was cold. The sky was clear. The stars were shining. Sarah looked up. Do you think Dad is watching us? Yes, I am sure. Do you think he is proud of me? I am sure he is. Even though I made the mistake of marrying Ethan. That was not a mistake. It was an experience. And you learned from it. Yes, I learned that I am an idiot. You are not an idiot. Then what am I? You are a survivor. Sarah remained silent for a long time. Then she said, Mom, Dr. Roberts told me something today. What did she tell you? She told me that what Ethan did to me has a name. It is called psychological violence, and that it is as real as physical violence. She is right. She told me my brain is damaged, that it is going to take time to heal it. But will it heal? How do you know? Because I know you. And I know you are stronger than you think. Sarah started to cry. I do not feel strong, but you are, because you kept going, because you got out, because you said no more. I could only do it because you were there. I am always going to be here. We stayed sitting there for hours, under the stars, in silence. Just the two of us, mother and daughter, surviving. Saturday, March 24th, 8 in the morning. Sarah woke up with an idea. "Mom, I want to go back to work. Work, yes, as a designer. I want to open my studio again. Sarah, that is wonderful. But I do not know if I can. I have no money. I have no clients. I have nothing. You have talent. And that is the only thing you need. Do you think people will hire me after all this scandal? The people who are worth it? Yes." Sarah smiled, for the first time in weeks, a real smile. "Then I am going to try." That day, Sarah spent hours on the computer, looking for her old projects, her old contacts, rebuilding her portfolio. I watched her from the door of her room, concentrated, focused, alive. And for the first time since all this started, I felt hope. Hope that Sarah was going to be okay. Hope that we were going to get out of this. Hope that the worst moment had passed, but I was wrong. Because on Monday, March 26th, everything changed again. And this time, in a way I never imagined. Monday, March 26th, 9 in the morning. Richard called us. "There is a problem." What happened? Ethan got out. What, how? His lawyer argued that the two violations were misunderstandings, that he only wanted to talk to his wife, that he did not represent a real danger, and the judge believed him. The judge decided that with an electronic ankle bracelet it was enough. Ethan can go out, but he has to stay 500 meters from Sarah. If he gets close, the bracelet sends an alert to the police. That is not enough. I know, but it is what it is. I hung up. Sarah looked at me with terror. "Mom, he is going to come." "He cannot. He has the ankle bracelet. He is not going to care. He is going to find a way." "Sarah, I know him, Mom. He is going to come." And she was right. Because that night at 11, I received a message from an unknown number. The message said, "Tell Sarah to look out the window." I ran to Sarah's room. She was asleep. I went to the window and looked out. There on the other side of the street was a car, not the black BMW, another car, and inside a figure looking towards our house. I could not see the face, but I knew who it was. I called the police. There is someone outside my house. I think it is Ethan Miller. He is supposed to have an electronic ankle bracelet. We checked the system. He is at his house. The bracelet has not sent any alert. But he is here. I am seeing him. Ma'am, if the bracelet says he is at his house, then he is at his house. Maybe it is someone else. It is not someone else. It is him. But when I looked out the window again, the car was no longer there. It had gone, like a ghost. And I knew this was far from over. I still ask myself if I did the right thing. And you? What would you have done in my place? Tuesday, March 27th, 4 in the morning. I could not sleep. I stayed sitting in the living room all night with the lights off, looking out the windows, waiting to see that car again, waiting to see Ethan, but he did not appear. Just silence, just darkness. And that was worse, because when you do not see him, but you know he is there, the fear becomes something that lives inside you, that breathes with you, that does not let you rest. At 6 in the morning, Sarah came out of her room. She had deep circles under her eyes, her hair messy. She was wearing one of my old robes. "Did you sleep?" I asked her. "No." She sat next to me on the sofa. "Mom, this cannot go on like this. I know. He is going to keep coming, over and over again. It does not matter how many times they arrest him. It does not matter how many restraining orders he has. He is going to keep coming. Then we are going to stop him. How I do not know yet. But we are going to find a way." Sarah remained silent for a long time. Then she said, "Mom, I need to tell you something. What is wrong?" "Yesterday, when I was working on my portfolio, I found something." "What did you find?" She got up and went to her room. She came back with her laptop. She opened it and showed me the screen. It was an email from Ethan to her. Dated a year ago, November of last year. The subject said, "Work contract confidential." Sarah opened the email. There was an attached document, a contract, the contract she had supposedly signed. "Did you read it?" I asked her. "Yes, last night. And Mom, it is worse than we thought." I read the contract. It was 5 pages long, written in complicated legal language, but the essence was clear. Sarah agreed to work at the Heritage Restaurant without a fixed salary in exchange for participation in future profits. She agreed to work the hours necessary for the optimal operation of the business. She agreed not to compete with the restaurant for 5 years after terminating her employment. And the worst, if she abandoned her position without justified cause and without 90 days prior notice, she would be responsible for all damages and losses caused to the business, including but not limited to loss of customers, deterioration of reputation, and operational expenses. The stipulated amount, $50,000. "Oh my God," I whispered. "You see, he was not lying. I did sign this. But this is illegal, Sarah. No judge is going to make it valid." "How do you know?" "Because Richard is an excellent lawyer and he is going to prove it." I took a photo of the contract with my phone and sent it to Richard. 3 minutes later, he called me. "Margaret, where did you get this?" Sarah found it in her emails. "This is gold. This is exactly what we needed." Why? Because this contract is completely illegal. It violates multiple labor laws, work without pay, undefined hours, abusive clauses. And the best part, it has Ethan's digital signature. Does that help us? It helps us enormously. I am going to use this to prove labor exploitation. And not only that, I am going to countersue. Countersue, yes, for the 8 months that Sarah worked without pay at a rate of 12 hours a day, 7 days a week with minimum wage, plus overtime. We are talking about more than $100,000 that Ethan owes Sarah. I felt something light up inside me. Hope. For the first time in weeks. Real hope. That day, Richard prepared the countersuit. We filed it on Wednesday, March 28th. Ethan received the notification on Thursday, the 29th. And that same day, at 6 in the evening, I received a call. It was not from Ethan. It was from his mother, Mrs. Margaret Peterson. Yes. "My name is Grace Miller. I am Ethan's mother." I stayed silent. "I know this is a difficult time, but I need to talk to you and Sarah. I do not think that is a good idea. Please just let me explain." Something in her voice made me doubt. She sounded tired, broken. "What do you want to talk about my son, about what he did to Sarah, and about what I am going to do about it?" Grace Miller arrived at my house on Friday, March 30th at 11 in the morning. She was a woman of 64, small, thin, with white hair tied in a bun. She dressed in black, as if she were in mourning. Maybe she was. She sat in the living room with us. Sarah did not want to be there, but I asked her to stay. "You need to hear this," I told her. Grace looked at Sarah for a long time before speaking. Then with a trembling voice, she said, "I know what my son did to you, and I came to ask for your forgiveness." Sarah did not respond. I know that an apology is not enough. I know that nothing I say is going to erase the damage. But I need you to know that I did not raise him like that. "Then why is he like that?" asked Sarah. Grace lowered her eyes. "Because of his father. Ethan's father was a violent man, a controlling man. He hit me, he humiliated me, he took everything from me. My job, my friends, my dignity." She paused, and Ethan saw it. For 15 years, he saw how his father treated me. And when his father died, I thought everything was going to change. I thought Ethan was going to be different, but he was not, I said. No, he became his father, and I did not want to see it. I did not want to accept it. Until now. Sarah started crying silently. "Why did I come to tell you this?" continued Grace. "Because I want you to know that you are not alone, that I went through the same thing, and I know how hard it is to get out." "You got out?" asked Sarah. "Yes, but too late after my husband died, and I lost 20 years of my life. I do not want you to lose yours." She stood up and took an envelope out of her bag. She gave it to me. "What is this?" "It is a letter written by me declaring that I was a witness to my husband's abusive behavior and that I see the same pattern in my son. You can use it in court if you need it." I opened the envelope. Grace continued, "I came to tell you that I am not going to support Ethan in this lawsuit. I am not going to pay for his lawyers. I am not going to defend him. Because what he did to Sarah is wrong and he needs to face the consequences." Sarah looked at her with eyes full of tears. "Why are you doing this? Because I could not save you, but maybe I can prevent him from doing this to someone else." Grace got up to leave, but before leaving, she looked at Sarah one last time. "You are strong, stronger than me. Do not let my son steal that strength." And she left. That night, Sarah and I sat in the living room in silence. Grace's letter was on the coffee table. "Do you think it is real?" Sarah asked. "Yes, I think so. And do you think Ethan knows she came?" "Probably not, and he is probably going to get very angry when he finds out." "Good." Sarah took the letter and read it again. "Mom, do you think I am going to end up like her, alone regretting having lost so much time?" "No." "How do you know?" "Because you got out in time. Because you did not lose 20 years. You only lost 8 months. And those 8 months taught you something that many people never learn. What that you are worth more than any person can make you believe you are worth." Sarah closed her eyes. "Thanks, Mom. You are welcome, my love." Saturday, March 31st, 10 in the morning. Richard arrived at the house with news. Ethan dropped the lawsuit, what his lawyer called this morning. They said that after reviewing the evidence, they decided it was not viable to continue with the case. Why? Because they know they are going to lose. And not only that, they know that with the countersuit, Ethan is going to end up owing much more than Sarah supposedly owes him. So it is over, this part, yes. But there is still the divorce and the criminal case for the restraining order violations. How long is it going to take the divorce? About 6 months. The criminal case depends. But with the 2 documented violations, it is very likely that Ethan ends up with time in prison. Sarah was sitting on the sofa listening in silence. How much time in prison, she asked. Probably 6 months to a year. And after he goes free. With a record. With a permanent restraining order. But free. Sarah remained silent. I knew what she was thinking, that Ethan was going to come back, that this was never going to end. But then something changed. Something in Sarah's eyes. She stood up. "I need to do something." What asked Richard? "I need to speak, publicly, about what happened. Sarah, no Mom. I need to do it. Because if I do not speak, Ethan is going to keep controlling the narrative. He is going to keep saying that I am the bad one, that I abandoned him without reason, that I am ruining him." "Are you sure?" "Yes, I am sure." Richard nodded. "There is a journalist who contacted me a few days ago. Her name is Andrea Scott. She works for a local newspaper. She wants to do an interview about psychological violence in relationships. I want to talk to her," said Sarah. The interview was published on Sunday, April 1st, front page, with a photograph of Sarah, looking directly at the camera. The headline said, "I survived. The story of a woman who escaped psychological abuse." In the interview, Sarah told everything: the isolation, the control, the forced labor, the humiliations, the night in the kitchen, and the recovery process. She did not mention Ethan's name, on legal advice, but everyone knew who she was talking about. The article went viral. In 24 hours, it had more than 1 million views. Social media exploded. But this time, most of the comments were supportive. "Thanks for speaking. This happened to me too. You are very brave. You are not alone." Sarah read the comments and cried. But this time, not of sadness, of relief, because finally someone believed her. Monday, April 2nd, 8 in the morning. I received a call from Richard. "Margaret, I need you to come to my office." "Now." What happened? It is about Ethan. What did he do now? Nothing. That is the problem. I arrived at Richard's office 30 minutes later. Sarah came with me. Richard was sitting at his desk with an expression I had never seen on him. Worry. True worry. Ethan disappeared. What his electronic ankle bracelet stopped working last night at 11. The police went to his house. He was not there. His car is not there. His phone is off. What does that mean? It means he violated the terms of his release, and that there is an arrest warrant against him. Good. Let them arrest him. Margaret, you do not understand. If Ethan fled, it means he no longer cares about legal consequences, and that makes him unpredictable, dangerous. Sarah went pale. He is going to come for me. We do not know that. Yes, we know he is going to come, and this time he is not going to stop. Richard took his phone. I am going to talk to the police. I am going to ask them to put surveillance on your house. And if it is not enough, then we are going to take other measures. That night, there were 2 patrols parked outside my house. One in front, one in back. Sarah and I stayed inside with all the lights on, with all the doors locked, waiting. But Ethan did not appear. Not that night, nor the next, nor the next. It was as if he had evaporated. And that was the most terrifying thing of all. Because when a man like Ethan disappears, it can only mean one thing. He is planning something. Friday, April 6th, 11 at night. Sarah and I were watching a movie in the living room when we heard a noise outside, a thump as if something had fallen, or someone. I looked out the window. The patrols were still there, but I did not see anything strange. It was probably a cat, I told Sarah, but she was not listening to me. She was looking at her phone with her face completely pale. What is wrong? She showed me the screen. It was a message from an unknown number. The message said, I have nothing left to lose. Neither should you. And below the message, a photograph of our house, taken from inside, from the patio, from 5 minutes ago. I ran to the patio door. It was locked, but the window, the small bathroom window that we never closed properly, was open. Ethan had been inside the house, and he was still close. I still ask myself if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place Friday, April 6th, 11:10 at night? I called the police immediately. There is someone inside my house, or was a few minutes ago. Are you sure? Yes. I have a photograph they sent me, taken from my patio 5 minutes ago. Do not move. We are coming. I hung up. Sarah was trembling. I hugged her. It is going to be okay. It is not going to be okay, Mom. He was here, inside the house. The 2 officers who were outside knocked on the door. Mrs. Peterson. I opened. We received your call. Where do you think he entered through the bathroom window? The one facing the patio. They checked the entire house, room by room, closet by closet. They did not find anyone, but in the bathroom window they found marks, shoe marks on the sill, and outside in the patio, fresh footprints in the dirt, the same footprints we had seen weeks ago. Were the patrols there the whole time? I asked. Yes, ma'am. We did not see anyone enter. Then how did he get here? The officer looked at the back alley. He probably jumped the fence. It is low, and with the darkness we did not see him. Then what are you here for if you cannot protect us, ma'am? I understand your frustration, but we cannot be everywhere at the same time. Then what are we supposed to do? The officer remained silent because he had no answer. That night, Sarah and I stayed in my room with the door locked, with a chair against the door, with the baseball bat next to me, and with the phones ready to dial 911. Neither of us slept. We just waited for dawn, waited for this nightmare to end. Saturday, April 7th, 6 in the morning. Richard arrived with more police. This time there were 4 officers, 2 men, 2 women, and a detective. His name was Detective Reynolds, 52 years old, tall, with gray hair and a serious expression. He sat with us in the living room. Mrs. Peterson, I need you to tell me everything from the beginning. And I told him. Everything. From the night I found Sarah in the restaurant kitchen to the message last night, the detective took notes in a small notebook. When I finished, he remained silent for a few seconds. Then he said, "Ethan Miller is a dangerous man, and he is escalating. What does that mean? It means that every time he loses control, he becomes more desperate, and a desperate man is capable of anything." Sarah started to cry. So what do we do? First, we are going to increase surveillance. We are going to have patrols 24 hours, and we are going to install security cameras throughout the house. Second, I need you to consider leaving here for a few days, to a place where Ethan cannot find you, like where a hotel, a relative's house, somewhere. We have no one, I said. We only have each other. The detective nodded. Then the hotel. And I am going to coordinate with the local police to protect you. That day, Sarah and I packed. 1 suitcase each, clothes, documents, medicines, the essentials. We were going to a hotel in the suburbs, far from downtown, far from the restaurant, far from Ethan. But before leaving, Sarah stopped me. "Mom, wait. What is wrong? I do not want to leave like this. I do not want him to win. Sarah, it is not a matter of winning or losing. It is a matter of keeping you safe." I know. But if we leave, he is going to think he has power over me, that he can control me with fear. He has no power over you. Then show it. I want to do something before we leave. "What do you want to do?" "I want to go to the restaurant." "Are you crazy?" "No, Mom, listen to me. I want to go to the restaurant with the police, and I want to recover something." "What thing?" "There is a box in Ethan's office. It has all the photographs of my life before him, photographs of Dad, of you, of my friends, everything I was before he appeared. Sarah, he took my identity. Mom, he took my documents, but he is not going to keep my memories." I looked at Detective Reynolds. "Is it possible?" He hesitated. "It is risky, but it is possible. Yes, if we go with enough officers, and if we get in and out fast." Sarah nodded. "Then let's go." We arrived at the restaurant at 2 in the afternoon. There were 6 patrols outside, 12 officers, Detective Reynolds, Richard, and us. The restaurant was closed, abandoned. The windows had dust, the curtains were drawn. A sign on the door said, "Temporarily closed," but we knew it was permanent. Without Sarah, without employees, without customers. The restaurant had collapsed. Ethan had lost everything, and that made him even more dangerous. The officers opened the door with a court order. We entered. The place was worse than the last time. Broken plates on the floor, tables overturned. The walls had holes, as if someone had hit them with their fists or with their head. Sarah walked slowly through the dining room, looking at everything. "This was beautiful," she whispered. "I made this beautiful." "And he destroyed it. He destroyed himself," I told her. We walked to the back office. The door was locked. One of the officers kicked it open. Inside, the chaos was worse. Papers everywhere, torn documents. The computer smashed against the wall, and on the floor, empty bottles. Tequila, whiskey, vodka. Ethan had been here, drinking, destroying, losing himself. Sarah looked around. "The box is in the closet." She opened the closet, and there it was, a cardboard box with her name written in black marker, Sarah. She took it out. It weighed little. She opened it. Inside were photographs. Photographs of her as a child, with her father, with me. Photographs of her graduation, of her first studio, of her friends, of her life. Sarah took a photograph. It was of her at 25, smiling, full of life. "Here I am," she said. "This is me." And for the first time in months, I saw her. I saw my daughter. Not the broken woman Ethan had created, but the strong woman she always was. We left the restaurant, with the box, with the memories. And when we got into the car, Sarah looked back one last time. "Goodbye," she whispered. She was not talking to the restaurant. She was talking to that part of her life, to that version of herself she left behind. We went to the hotel, a small hotel in the suburbs, discreet, secure. 2 rooms, side by side. That night, Sarah and I had dinner at the hotel restaurant. Stew, again. Sarah ate slowly, savoring every bite, as if she were learning to eat again, to enjoy, to live. Mom, do you think someday I will be able to be in a normal relationship? Yes, I believe so. How do you know? Because you are going to heal. And when you heal, you are going to learn to recognize real love. And if I do not heal, you are going to heal, I promise. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Sarah said, Mom, thanks. Why for not giving up on me? For not leaving me there, for saving me. I did not save you. You saved yourself. No, you started. You were the one who took me out of that kitchen, the one who called the lawyer, the one who fought for me when I could not fight for myself. I took her hand. I am always going to fight for you. Sunday, April 8th, 9 in the morning. Detective Reynolds called us. We found Ethan. Where? In a motel upstate. He was drunk. He tried to flee, but they detained him. Is he arrested? Yes. And this time, he is not getting out. He violated the terms of his release. He violated the restraining order multiple times. He has charges for harassment, trespassing, threats. How long is he going to be in prison? The judge is going to decide, but with everything he has against him, probably 1 to 3 years. I felt a huge weight lifting from my shoulders. And after he gets probation with a permanent restraining order. If he gets close to Sarah again, he goes back to prison automatically. Thanks, detective. Do not thank me. Thanks, Sarah, for speaking, for reporting, for not staying silent. I told Sarah. She remained silent for a long time. Then she started to cry, but not of sadness, of relief. Is it over? She asked. Yes, my love, it is over. Are you sure? Yes. We hugged and cried together, because finally, after months of fear, of pain, of struggle, it was over. Monday, April 9th. We returned home. The police had installed security cameras, new locks bars on the windows. The house looked like a fortress, but we no longer needed it because Ethan was locked up and we were free. That week, Sarah started working again. She got her first client, a small cafe that needed menu design. It did not pay much, but it was a start. And Sarah worked with a passion I had not seen in years. Concentrated, happy, alive. I watched her from the door of her room and smiled because my daughter had returned. 2 months later, June. Sarah was working on her laptop on the patio when she received an email. She opened it. It was from the journalist Andrea Scott. The email said, Sarah, thank you for sharing your story. Since it was published, we have received more than 500 letters from women telling similar stories. Your courage inspired many to speak to report to get out. You are an example of strength and hope. Thank you. Sarah read the email 3 times, then she showed it to me. Mom, do you see this? Yes, 500 women, 500 lives you touched. I did not do anything special. You did the hardest thing in the world. You spoke. And that changed everything. Sarah smiled, a complete smile. Real, beautiful. Then it was worth it. 3 months later, September, Ethan's trial. Sarah testified. In front of the judge, in front of the lawyers, in front of Ethan. She told everything, with a firm voice, with her head held high, without crying, without trembling. Ethan looked at her from the other side of the room, but no longer with hatred, but with something worse. Emptiness. As if he had finally understood what he had lost. Not only Sarah, but his restaurant, his reputation, his freedom, his life. And that emptiness in his eyes was true justice, because it was not Sarah who destroyed him. It was himself. The judge handed down the sentence. 2 years in prison, 3 years of probation, permanent restraining order, and an obligation to pay $120,000 to Sarah for unpaid wages. Ethan said nothing. He just lowered his head, as if he had finally accepted defeat. Outside the courthouse, Sarah took a deep breath. "How do you feel?" I asked her. Relieved, sad, angry, happy, all at the same time. "It is normal." "Mom, do you think he's going to change?" "I do not know. Maybe, maybe not. But that is no longer your problem. You are right." We walked to the car, and before getting in, Sarah looked back, towards the courthouse, towards that part of her life she was finally closing. "Goodbye, Ethan," she whispered. And this time, it was for real. 1 year later. April of the following year, Sarah had her own studio again, with 5 clients, with a small team, with her name on the door, Sarah Peterson, graphic design, not Sarah Miller, not Sarah Davis, just Sarah, herself, and Ethan. Ethan served his sentence in a federal prison. He got out 2 years later, but he was no longer the same man. The restaurant had closed permanently, sold for losses. His reputation was ruined. He could not get a job. He had no friends. His own mother had cut contact with him. He lived alone, in a small apartment, with the minimum. And every day when he looked in the mirror, he saw what he had lost. Not because of Sarah, not because of Margaret, but because of his own decisions, because of his own cruelty. Life had collected its debt. Naturally, as it always does, I still ask myself if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place 3 years later? April, Margaret Peterson, 61 years old. Sarah Peterson, 36 years old. I'm sitting on the patio of my house watering the roses. It is 6 in the evening. The sun is going down. The sky is painted orange and pink. Sarah arrives in her car, a car she bought with her own money, with her own work. She brings a bag of donuts and 2 coffees. She sits next to me. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, my love." We drink coffee in silence, as we have done every Sunday for the past 3 years. "How was your week?" I ask her. "Good. I closed a big contract, a restaurant chain." I smile. Restaurants. How ironic, I know. But it does not affect me anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. I am glad to hear it. Sarah looks different now. She has longer hair, shiny, healthy. She gained weight. She looks strong, radiant. Her eyes have light again, and when she smiles, it is a real smile. Not forced, not broken, real. "Mom, do you know what day it is?" "Yes. 3 years since the trial. 3 years since my life changed. It changed much more than 3 years ago, my love. You are right. It changed the night you went to that restaurant, the night you found me in that kitchen." She takes my hand. "If it had not been for you, I do not know where I would be now. You are here. That is the only thing that matters." We stay in silence for a few minutes. Then Sarah says, "You know, last week I received a message from a woman who read my story. Yes, she told me she has been in an abusive relationship for 5 years, that her husband controls her, isolates her, humiliates her, just like Ethan. And what did you tell her?" I told her she is not alone, that there is a way out, that I am the proof. And I gave her Dr. Roberts' number. You did well. Mom, since my story was published, I have received hundreds of messages like that, hundreds of women asking for help, because you gave them hope. And now I want to do more. "What do you want to do?" Sarah smiles. "I want to open a center, a place where women who are going through the same thing can receive help. Legal advice therapy support. Sarah, that is beautiful, and I want you to be part of it." Me? Yes. Because without you, I would not be here. And there are many women who need a Margaret in their lives. I feel my eyes filling with tears. It would be an honor. Sarah looks towards the sky. "Do you think Dad would be proud?" I am sure. Sometimes I feel him, as if he were here watching over us. He always watched over us, and he always will. I get up and walk towards the plants. There is a new one that Sarah gave me a month ago, an orchid, delicate, beautiful, strong. "Do you know why I gave you that orchid?" Sarah asks. "No." Because orchids are the most resilient flowers that exist. They can survive in any condition. They can bloom even after seeming dead. Like you. Like us. That night before Sarah leaves, she hugs me. A long hug. Strong. Thanks, Mom. For everything. You do not have to thank me. Yes, I do, because you gave me something that Ethan could never take from me. What? The certainty that I am loved. Unconditionally. No matter what. I hug her tighter. You always were. And you always will be. Sarah leaves. I stay on the patio, looking at the stars, thinking about everything we went through, about how hard it was, about how terrifying it was, but also about how beautiful it is now, because Sarah is alive. She is healing, she is helping others, and that is all that matters. And Ethan served his sentence. He got out of prison a year ago. He lives alone. He works in a warehouse. He earns minimum wage. His life is not what it was. It will never be again. And although a part of me feels pity, I know this is fair. Because life always collects its debts. Not with vengeance, but with natural consequences, with karmic justice. Sometimes I wonder if he learned anything, if he changed, if he regrets it. I do not know, and it does not matter anymore, because that story is no longer ours. It is his, and he has to live with it every day. For the rest of his life, this is my story, the story of a mother who did not give up, of a daughter who survived, of a justice that arrived naturally, without screams, without vengeance, only with truth and with time. If you are listening to this and you feel identified, if you are in a relationship where you feel small, controlled, lost, I want you to know something. You are not alone. There is a way out, and you deserve to be loved without fear, without control, without conditions, because real love makes you grow. It does not take pieces from you. It gives you wings. And if my story helps a single woman open her eyes, to ask for help, to get out, then everything we went through will have been worth it. Thank you for listening to the end. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and turn on the bell to hear more stories of women who transform their pain into wisdom. Every day a woman, a life lesson. Share this story with someone you love. Sometimes a story like this can change a whole day. God bless you, and until next time.